Hello and welcome to First Geek 411. I'm your host, Cameron Franklin, and with me, as always, my best man, Chris Nicolay. Chris, how you doing today?
Hello. I'm well. I'm tired. I did not sleep at all last night.
Oh no,
I went to bed for like 2 hours at like 6:30 and got up in time to sit at my desk. It was great.
Chris,
It was great
but why?
because Netflix.
Oh, touche. Okay. And joining us, the Hoot and Howl, Shanine. How are you doing today?
Doing good.
Did you get more than 2 hours of sleep last night?
I did.
Proud of
Probably
you.
not much, but more than two.
This week, we are excited to chat about Mulan, the PlayStation State of Play, Doctor Who, and then we'll be doing our top 3 musical scenes in a non-musical TV or show. Before we get into that, as always, you can find us on our social media, OneGeek411, on places like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and our PlayStation community. You can also join our Discord, and then find us on our email, 1stgeek411@gmail.com. If you have any cool topic ideas or anything like that, you can check out the show notes on our website, onegeek411.com. And then you can watch live and be part of Twitch chat in the post chat. And then check out the videos over on YouTube. Before we get into our awesome news for this week, that I'm really hyped about many of the things, we're going to talk about some of our favorite things from this past week. Shanine, why don't you start us off?
All right. Well, Umbrella Academy Season 2 came out, and it was amazing. And I still love Klaus.
Yep.
And my husband and I got a new board game for our anniversary, and it finally arrived. And it's called The Dragon and Flagon, and it's basically a big tavern brawl. And I really like the concept. I'm not certain about the gameplay yet, but I want to give it another try. And then
Have you played Red Dragon Inn?
I love Red Dragon Inn.
Okay. I've played it once, and it was a lot of fun. I need to play it again, but it just made me think of that.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I got excited about the Dragon and Flagon, because I thought it was going to be kind of similar. And like the tavern feel is similar, but the gameplay is much different. And I've also been reading The Utterly Uninteresting and Unadventurous Tales of Fred the Vampire Accountant by Drew Hayes, and it is amazing.
So I have questions.
Yes.
So is Fred an accountant to vampires, or a vampire who is an accountant?
He is a vampire who is an accountant.
Not as interested now.
I don't know.
I mean, yeah, that sounds. I mean, sure, but I mean,
Chris,
I think I'd be more
utterly
interested.
uninteresting and unadventurous in the title.
Yeah, but
It's amazing. He is like this really nerdy guy who he was an accountant, and then he got turned into a vampire. And he's like, all the things about you becoming super cool and buff after turning into a vampire are false. He's like, I'm still a huge nerd. Like, the first section is about him going to his 10-year high school reunion. And
Okay.
the second section is him going LARPing.
I like that he was an accountant first,
Yes.
so I'm a little more pro that. I'm a little more on board. A little more.
It's really hilarious.
Also, is that what you were
kind
doing
of.
at like 5:30 this morning?
No.
Because I was up apparently, and it's like, oh, Shanine liked something. It was 3 minutes ago. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. My
Early
husband gets
riser.
up early for work, and then I'm up as well.
I've been trying to do that, and then I ended up napping yesterday, and then I just stayed up all night. Combination of that and everything else I've been doing this week. Like, okay. This is life now.
Speaking of what you've been up to this week, Chris, what has that been?
So I have clocked a ton of hours in Ghost of Tsushima,
Proud of you.
and I've done like 2 story quests. Like I
So
just wander the
basically,
roads.
it's you.
Yeah, yeah. I just wander the roads and kill Mongols and find foxes, and yeah, that's like all I do. And like I also pick like what he wears based on that. He's just a wanderer. He's not actually a samurai. He wears the Ronin like traditional dark kimono, and then he has a straw hat, and that's it. Like so he's just the wandering Ronin. Yeah, it's great. um I've also, because that's what I ultimately ended up doing, is because I couldn't sleep last night, is I progressed further in the 4th season of the 7 Deadly Sins, and this might be my favorite season so far. Um, Offers a lot more background character for all the characters, as well as just in general development. Um, we get a better look at the Holy War that we talk about from 3,000 years ago, and yeah, I love this show. Although the main character is not my favorite in the first 2 seasons, he's a lot better in this one, so it's not as like, I guess, risque for the general population. But yeah, 7 Deadly Sins. I'm excited for the next season now already because just binge watched it. I'm almost done. I still have a few more episodes left. I'm a little farther in the Umbrella Academy. I've not finished it because, not gonna lie, anime is just a little closer to my heart.
Take Umbrella Academy out of the show notes, Chris.
Why? I watched it. I watched more of it. Okay, I made progress on it this week. It counts. It's something I did, and I am enjoying it. But then suddenly there was the 7 Deadly Sins, and like, oh, I'll finish you after I finish this. I also got distracted by the Tales of Arcadia, the Wizards, which also just launched on Netflix.
Is this connected to the video game series?
I don't know. Maybe there's a video game series.
Like the Tales series, like Tales of Symphonia?
No, Tales of Arcadia is the Troll Hunter series on Netflix from DreamWorks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I got you.
yeah. So Tales of Arcadia. Now it's like it's still kind of the same characters and stuff, but they're doing other stuff now. So yeah, Tales of Arcadia. Not interesting start so far. We'll see how this goes. I will finish, but I will finish the Umbrella Academy before I finish Tales of Arcadia, just for you, Cameron.
I appreciate it.
And yeah, that's about it. I dropped my bike off to get repaired. Did I mention that my friend ran over it?
No.
Oh, I should mention that. So last weekend when I was in Texas visiting my friend before we were going to get ready to bike that trail, while we were getting ready to load up, I put my bike in front of his garage. Well, just leaned up against the vehicle because I had to unload it from the car and put it together. And he decided to go out. I just ran in to grab my water bottle and get everything ready. And he decided to pull the truck out and ran over my tire and bent it. And yeah. So that's at the shop officially. See how much it costs for a new tire, derailleur, and see if my frames itself is bent. Oh, and a new disc brake. It's expensive. Bikes are expensive. I want to go look, and like half the bikes that are left, because bikes are really popular right now, half the bikes in the bike shop are like $8,000 bikes.
That is a lot.
That's half the price of my car. Yeah. But yeah, so that's what I've been up to.
Over on my end, picked up a couple books that I have not started, and so which I figure I feel like it's just the MO for buying things. Like no matter what your hobby is, there's always a backlog.
Oh yeah.
And so I picked up. It's Plugged In and Epic. Plugged In came off recommendation of Shanine, and then Epic came off of from Tony T on the Nerd of Godcast. And so be getting to those soon. I also picked up Pokemon Let's Go Eevee because I wanted to go back to Kanto. And I gotta say, if you understand how types work, Pokemon is really easy.
Especially Let's Go. Also, if you jump back into Sword or Shield, you'll get a free perfect Eevee.
Oh, cool.
Because now you have Let's Go Eevee. If you had Let's Go Pikachu, you get a perfect Pikachu.
Huh.
Perfect for breeding.
Nice. Yeah. I will keep that in mind. I haven't gotten far. I just beat Brock. But yeah, so I'll have more thoughts on that later. Other Pokemon news. This past weekend was Magikarp Day for Pokemon Community Day.
Yeah,
so
I missed
Deanna
it.
and I and a handful of our friends went out and walked around and caught a bunch of Magikarps, got some shinies. So that was a lot of fun. It was a great way to be with people, still have some space, masks, all that social distancing stuff. So that was really exciting. Deanna's literal first Pokemon she caught was a shiny Magikarp, for the day. So proud of her.
Dang.
And then we've been continuing our marathon of Doctor Who. We just got to the library. And so we're
the
towards
library.
the end.
Donde está la biblioteca?
¿Dónde está la biblioteca? That's a good movie. And so I got to say, the stuff that happens, this is my second time watching or trying to watch through Doctor Who. And I got to say, if earlier seasons were more of what this was, I would have binged the whole thing a whole lot more. And so I just really like what they're doing now with timeline stuff and that kind of thing. And so way more in than I have been, and definitely way more than I was the time I previously started watching it. Other stuff, working for The Last of Us 2 Platinum, but the big news is I've been playing a ton of Fall Guys. And it is both the best and worst thing ever. So Fall Guys, for people that might not know, is a goofy battle royale kind of inspired by game shows. And with the idea of there's races, there's other jumping challenges, there's team events, and it's a ton of fun. I'm hoping to stream some soon. But I played some with our Discord people and loving it. Looking forward to playing a ton more. I keep on getting robbed and I haven't gotten a win yet, so I'm super bitter about that. But
sure, you know what Jesus says: sucks to suck.
But that's what I've been up to. And so that brings us into our news segments. And we got video games to kick us off with, as usual. So we got the official reveal this past week that there is a Suicide Squad game in the works from Rocksteady. So how do we collectively feel about the Suicide Squad IP?
Has so much potential that's just unrealized. That's about it. Probably a better video game than a movie.
Yeah. I feel very similar. I like Rocksteady. I like what they did with the Arkham games. It feels really weird that we're getting a Suicide Squad game.
I mean, DC's got to do something though, right? They got to stay relevant somehow.
These are all good points. But yeah, so that's that. We also had, as mentioned last week, the PlayStation State of Play was, I think, Thursday. And so we got some gameplay. We got some way too long gameplay. we got some more way too long gameplay. So that's a thing. But in seriousness,
did they just overemphasize Crash Bandicoot?
I
didn't watch it, so.
Yeah, so Crash Bandicoot, The Pathless, and Godfall were all way too long. But kind of with that, The Pathless looked really cool. It's kind of like an artsy archery game. Not really sure what it's about, but it looks interesting. So that's cool. That's kind of really my... Oh, we saw more Bug Snacks. You can't not talk about Bug Snacks. Except for last time where we forgot to talk about Bug Snacks, and I had people message me and ask me why. So...
Because I always forget about it. And then, the game looks so weird.
I'm so interested.
I don't know.
I
This
don't
might
know
be
what it is.
this might be too far out there for me, depending on its price. Like if this is ever like a PS Plus game, probably check it out. But I'm not sure if I can spend money on it.
But Chris, they're bugs, and they're also snacks.
And they turn into themselves, or they like combine into each other when you eat each other. It's not like game looks weird. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, again, you're not wrong. It is very weird, but you can't stop talking about bug snacks.
Like if you eat something, it becomes like your arm, right? Like if you eat a curly fry, you now have a curly eye for an arm.
Something like that. Yeah. It's kind of unclear, but that's bug snacks.
Like I could also see myself like getting sucked into this game and spending way too much time on it.
That's the correct answer, Chris.
Yeah, but I have no big enough backlog.
Never too big of a backlog.
There is such thing as too big of a backlog.
Listeners, if you have a favorite announcement from the state of play, let us know, and we'll be sure to chat about them some more later.
Godfall does look interesting, though.
Yeah. With that, let's jump into movies, TV, anime, and entertainment. And Shanine, we got some Doctor Who news.
Yes.
Why don't you fill us all in on why this is really exciting?
Alrighty. Well, it was announced that Christopher Eccleston, the Ninth Doctor, is going to be back in the Whoverse after 15 years.
I don't know who that is.
Chris, he's the Ninth
I'm just
Doctor.
kidding.
Doctor,
I'm just kidding. Please don't.
I get to be a
unfollow.
Doctor Who fan now. So for me, as someone
Following
that
now.
aforementioned, excited about the library and all that kind of stuff, I'm excited for what this could be now. Like, and like apparently it's like a radio drama type thing that they recorded it during quarantine.
So it's not a Zoom call.
It could be a Zoom call. It's not a Zoom call. But
Like I feel like Doctor Who's one of those that you could probably do a pretty good job just recording on Zoom. Like recording Zoom specials.
Hmm.
It's just him and his TARDIS. just
him
him
and
and the
his
TARDIS. That's all it is. And all you got to do is green screen it behind him. And then the monologue.
Shanine, if this was your wildest, like, what is your most out there theory of what they could do for this?
Oh, man. I don't know. Because it didn't sound like they were really doing like a crossover thing. Like it was more an original story with the Ninth Doctor, is what I understood.
Mm-hmm. Let me see. I think was there a title for it?
Maybe.
I thought I remembered seeing one. Oh, okay. Well, each of the 4 volumes in Doctor Who, the Ninth Doctor Adventures. So,
Oh, well, that's vague.
so if that is the title,
Fake.
that's not the most like
Fake
interesting
news.
title.
Cameron, fake news.
I'm sorry.
I don't know. I'd love to see more of him and Rose together.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Me too.
And thank you, Chris.
I'm just here for solidarity, okay?
Yeah, we're just here to provide support. And some other news, we got that Nia DaCosta is to direct Captain Marvel 2.
Yes, so Nia DaCosta will be also will be Marvel's first Black woman director, and she is slated to replace oh shoot, what was their name? Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck as the directors for Captain Marvel 2. Granted, you might not know who Nia DaCosta is, and which is understandable. But she originally was the director of Little Woods, which is kind of a movie about the opioid crisis. And she's also working with Jordan Peele on Candyman. Oh, yeah, and some people in the chat already know what's up, what's the deal with her. So Candyman looks very promising. Also, just the fact that she's working with Jordan Peele on it because he's been killing it too. So I'm excited to see what take she does, or what she does with the second installment of Captain Marvel.
Yep. This is another one of those things where it's a director that hasn't necessarily done a ton, but I'm really excited that like Marvel seems to be doing a very good job with handing things over to directors that like they're new to this type of movie and then giving them an idea and having them basically knock it out of the park.
Yep.
There's a handful of other MCU properties that's been the case for. And so I'm really hoping that trend continues. So
yes. Yeah, I mean, like, in general, this is like some of the best Marvel movies have been where they just took a chance and picked an out there director and said, do it. Like Taika was not well known at the time.
Yeah.
I knew who he was because What We Do in the Shadows. Love that movie.
So it appears that Harry Potter is coming to Peacock, the CBS streaming service.
Which makes no sense.
Are we going to re-binge?
I mean, yes. Of course. But why the NBC streaming service? Why is NBC getting, like, you'd think that WB would just really like do their own thing.
Yeah, these are all good questions, Chris.
I have questions. That's all I've got because streaming services do not make any more sense. They haven't been the same since Disney bought Fox. It's all Disney's fault.
Off the top of everybody's heads, favorite Harry Potter movie and favorite book?
Favorite book?
So I can go.
Order of the Phoenix.
Okay. Favorite movie?
I have no idea.
Janine, what about you?
I don't know. I got into Harry Potter very late in life because of reasons. And so I didn't experience any Harry Potter till university. And so I have actually only read the books once and seen all the movies once and some of them twice. So I don't know if I can pick a favorite.
Movie one's hard. Book was easy. That Order of the Phoenix book was, I consumed that. I think I read that in a day and a half.
Yeah. So for me, I read the first 3 as they were coming out. Then like summer before senior year of high school, read the other 4. And so they kind of all run together. Like the books kind of all run together at a certain point because I read them all in such quick succession. But I really like Half-Blood Prince because it's kind of the most different, I guess is the way to say it. Like it's not as big of stakes and stuff like that, which is kind of like the same reason that I like Black Panther as a movie, is it's like the stakes in this are not as big as the things around it, but it's a really interesting like character development. And then probably Goblet of Fire is my favorite movie because they got a big dragon and that's really cool. There are like specific scenes in other movies that I like a lot more, but
Like as a
That's
whole.
probably
Yeah,
yeah.
I can't pick a favorite movie. They kind of all just blend together now for how many times I've watched them all together.
Yeah.
It's like separating them. Like, wait, which one was this in?
Yeah, see, that's the other problem. I read all the books back to back and then watched the movies as a marathon. So I don't
Right.
necessarily know where one begins and the other
It's like, what
ends.
year was he? How old was he?
I'm that way with a lot of sitcoms because like after you watch them the first time, it was kind of like just put it on and watch it, like have it on while and so it's like it all just like blurs. It's like this season, this event happens at some point. I don't really know where, but it happens.
Binge culture has ruined
So,
us.
yep, you're right though. Speaking of binge culture, it was announced this past week that Mulan is coming to Disney Plus, premiering there behind a $30 paywall for subscribers.
So not only do you need to be a subscriber, you now have to shell out additional $30
Mm-hmm.
to watch it on the streaming service. What are you doing?
Yeah, so I think it's really interesting to see the divide on the internet about this. I mean, of course, because the internet's always divided on everything. Because a lot of it is like for people that are either sharing their accounts or like have a like live with a bunch of kids or friends or whatever. Like $30 isn't that crazy, but if you're by yourself, like that's a whole lot for a movie. So
Yeah.
for the audio
That you don't
listeners,
even get
Chris
to
was pointing at
own.
himself.
You don't even own.
Um,
It's a rental. Yeah. Like not only that, not because it's behind a double paywall. So it's not even like you're being rewarded for being a subscriber. It's just, oh, this is available to you for an extra $30. You can you can buy the movie when it comes out on and in media. You can probably buy it on Amazon or whichever. For it's going to be a $20 movie. So I mean, like, yeah, for families, this is probably a great deal, but also like you're kind of limiting yourself to is Mulan going to be good enough for people to join Disney Plus to watch, especially with certain controversies around it, and or is it just essentially people who are already subscribers who are going to ultimately purchase it? I think what they should have done is ultimately release it on all streaming platforms, like or where you can rental platforms for $30. That's fine, and then offer a discounted rate for your subscribers. Even like for a month where you purchase Disney Plus and Mulan, make it less than your $30 mark. And I think that incentivizes people to join your streaming service more and not leave just because The Mandalorian's no longer up. And watch Mulan as a result because you're going to get on Disney streaming service. You're going to get it for cheaper than if you went and rented it from the other platforms.
Yeah. It is worth like noting that you do, as long as you have Disney Plus, you will keep access to Mulan. So like at least there's that. It's not like you can only watch it once. But I am very curious to what this means for people after like well, does this mean Mulan just won't come out on Disney Plus normally? Like what does this mean? Like because that seems like you
I
can't
think
do that
it's
either.
eventually going to come on the Disney Plus normally. Like there's no way it doesn't. It's just like you're paying $30 for early access. That's all you're doing. Sheen, what's your take?
Yeah, basically what you guys have said. It's like $30 seems so ridiculous when it's more than you're going to be paying for a movie in theaters and you're just watching it at home. Unless you're like a family of four or whatever. But
Yeah, I think at like 3
yeah,
it becomes worth it
I
because
don't
that's
know.
like a $10 movie ticket.
Yeah.
And you're saving on all the concessions, sure, but I mean, it's not like a true like event. Like going to the theater is an event. It's an experience more than anything anymore. But yeah, I mean, all in all, it is a smart move in making it exclusive. It's just the cost seems a little out there. It's like it's
So
such an arbitrary number.
Yeah, if we were to change cost, what do you think would be the right value?
$24.
$24?
I was gonna say 15.
But like when I say $24, I think that's what I'm talking about. Like that being your price point for a month of Disney Plus and Mulan.
Okay, so like you can get in. So basically, Mulan would be 20 in that case, or 18.
18, yeah.
So like you can get in, watch the whole thing for $25. I got you.
Yep.
I think that would be a very
24.
smart price. And
25 is too high.
$24.99.
20 no, $23.99. No, just
And so, and I'm kind of in that same boat as you. Now, granted, like we are most likely going to be getting it because like we share our Disney Plus with Deanna's family. So like for us, it will be worth it.
right.
But like I really think like that. Oops, knocked out my headphone. That $15-ish range makes a whole lot of sense. And I'm hoping that if we were to see something kind of like this for Black Widow or something else, we would see them like drop that cost down some. So,
See,
yeah,
I think it'd be
United
the
States, US dollars.
I think it'd be the other way though. Like I feel like Mulan is the one you kind of drop it because it's yes, people are excited. There's certain excitement to it, but like I feel like just your Marvel franchise is the ones where you can do more of this $30 price point for like early access.
Mm-hmm.
I think just in general that's a bigger IP than Mulan. There's certain excitement, but yeah, I'm gonna end up paying those $30 just because I gotta support this representation. You know, like that's also the reason why I buy books. I was like, I've got to go buy books for other voices, and I also got to support like a whole bookstore. I haven't read half the books I owed but like, yeah, I want to go support them. So I go buy them, and I plan on reading them. I just never get around to it.
Yep.
But there is an advantage to this. Ultimately, Disney does maintain 100% of profits or all the sales revenue. They get all your data. And they ultimately have all the control over how you watch it. So, I mean, power move. Touche.
Yeah, I completely agree. And it kind of gets into that like digital future kind of thing where we're getting used to certain prices. And then it's like, oh, but if you make it digital, realistically, more of the money is, or I guess realistically, hopefully more of the money is actually going to creators. Maybe?
False.
Like, I mean, that's kind of the hope. Like, again, to your point, that's a little bit like rose-tinted glasses, but that's the hope.
Right. I mean, like the success of this ultimately does. I mean, it does determine the success of the like actors and actresses and the producers and directors and everyone in terms of will Disney continue to fund ethnically diverse casts movies like this. And you know, so the success of Mulan is super important to me, which $30 will be worth it just for that. If Disney is told these will succeed, it's okay to not just cast white people. That's my hope. So I will highly encourage everyone to buy into Disney or Mulan when it comes to Disney Plus, just for that.
I guess with that, it's time for our favorite name segment.
Dongle news. Not a ton, mostly just follow up from last week. So last week we got the news that the Pixel 4a, Pixel 4a 5G, and Pixel 5 are all technically announced. The Pixel 4a launching later this month on, I think, ship date is August 20th, with the 4a 5G and Pixel 5 coming later this fall. A follow-up to that is they have already discontinued production on the Pixel 4. I think this is like the shortest run for a mobile phone in a long time. Like, it came out last fall, and essentially, 9 months later, it's done. No more Pixel 4. But we should see. We'll obviously see more about the specifics regarding the Pixel 5 if they're doing anything kind of crazy special, and we'll get more pricing point as we get closer to that date. Hopefully they don't continue to push that back like they did the 4A. And also the Google Pixel 5a has already been teased. So who knows what Google's doing. They're just like, hey, we hope you buy this, but there's also this next year. Good luck. Decisions. Another thing to note for our PC gaming friends, NVIDIA has teased their announcement event and launch event for their RTX 3080 series. So their next generation of graphics cards. I don't know how crazy powerful they're going to be. We haven't seen a TI edition or like a... Oh man, no, I can't even think because it's been a while since they've done it. We haven't seen like their crazy like titanium series GPUs in a while, but they're just their flagship, the 80 series has been kind of the go-to for the most part. Nice thing about the RTX series is they're not good for mining. So that keeps your mid-range and your low-range GPUs pretty cheap comparatively. So we'll hopefully see the cost of the 20 series drop as a result of this event.
I feel like computer hardware, like, it's just so far over my head. It's like, yes.
Well, it's something you need to be considering because we need to upgrade your computer.
This is true. And so, yes, very true. Need better graphics. But
really what you need is a better CPU. But hey, okay, we're not going to bore them.
You know, why not everything while we're at it? With that, brings us out of Dongle news. We don't have any tangibles this week, so we're going to go ahead and jump to our top 3 list, or top 3 question of the week provided by Shanine, which is our top 3 musical scenes in a non-musical show or movie. Before we get into our own, we have some responses from social media. We have Eric Steven over on Instagram says the Buffy musical episode. And then over on Twitter, Scott Higa, the Christian nerd, sent the Scrub gif saying everything comes down to poo. And then Greg replies and says, I was thinking Guy Love, but instead I choose to second this. And then Emma said that one scene in Enchanted. And then I feel like the entirety of Zoe's Extraordinary playlist. And then Holding Out for a Hero from Shrek 2. And so then we got into a discussion about, by we, I mean Shanine and Emma, on isn't Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist a musical and just inside her head. And this is one of my favorite like musical concessions, is that like, is it a musical or is it just one person doing this? And so
I don't think the setting determines if it's a musical. I think the music determines if it's a musical.
So like, yeah, like technically the episodes like referring to Buffy, that's a musical episode, technically speaking. The series itself is not.
Right. And so now we're getting into this, like, because this is like the reason I wanted to bring that up is because this is one of the things I was thinking, because like for the Scrubs gif, that is from the musical episode where somebody has a disease or has a mental thing and they hear everything as a musical. And so it's like, well, does that count as a musical? And then it's like, it's just inside this one person's head. And then you get stuff like Gallivant where they like buck the trend and like the singing is actually like literally happening. And so you get people like respond to the songs or ask them to move it along, that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
I love Gallivant.
Gallivant is so good. Gone too early. I say that I didn't know about it till it was on Netflix. But
Yeah, until it was already canceled.
Same.
Yeah.
I watched that live as it was coming out for the most part while it was on Hulu. It was great.
And so with that, unless there's some other responses elsewhere, let's get into our top three. Shanine, why don't you start us off?
Okay, the first one that comes to mind when I think of this category is in 500 Days of Summer. Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character wakes up in a really good mood one morning because of relationship things. Anyways, and then it's Hall & Oates' You Make My Dreams Come True. And basically it starts, he's just like walking through the park and like greeting everybody. And then suddenly he passes his bag off and then everyone in the park is his background dancer and he's dancing through the park. And then there's an animated bird that comes and lands on him. And it's just amazing.
Chris, what do you got?
So my first is Deo from Beetlejuice. Because it always gets stuck in my head. And it's actually it's one of the more like, because it's just the opening, it's very entertaining. It's one of my favorite scenes in the movie as a whole. Just with how they're being haunted. It's a good song choice for a haunting. Does that count? Like, I wasn't sure what to do for this top three.
Whatever your heart tells you counts, Chris. That's how we do our top threes.
I mean, in general, that's kind of what I did. It's like, sure, that works.
My first pick, and this was what we used for a lot of the posts because it was easier to find a gif of this than Nothing Suits Me Like a Suit. And that's Let's Go to the Mall by Robin Sparkles. And so, and kind of as like an embodiment of all of the Robin Sparkles / Robin Daggers, like that whole like character arc that they played. I love this. I love that Kobe did a version of Let's Go to the Mall, but it's like Let's All Stay Inside. Pretty like early on in quarantine and stuff like that. So big shout out to that. Love Let's Go to the Mall. My number one pick.
That one made it into my top 7. My next one is from Teen Titans Go. They had a 4-episode story arc in season 4 that took place in like an alternate 80s universe. And there's this band called BER that has a song, The Night Begins to Shine. And basically the story arc is about a dragon trying to steal their song. And it's just an amazing 80s song with weird 80s graphics in the background. Everything's like galaxy and pink, and there's a Pegasus, and it's really good.
I would never know that existed because I refuse to watch Teen Titans Go.
You should look up the song though, because it is actually an insanely catchy song.
There's a few things I've watched when it comes to Teen Titans Go, and that's because they were referred to me. The Self-Aware episode where they comment on the previous Teen Titans series, but with I forget the villain's name. I've watched that one, and that's about it. And I still rewatch that because it's so self-aware. It's like, yeah, you know you suck.
The movie did really well.
The Teen Titans Go movie did?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I know.
I remember like looking it up.
Maybe is that my hot take? Teen Titans Go is trash.
I don't know if that counts.
I don't know. Like I feel like that one's semi-divided. Like the original series is just so good.
I think a lot of people are in the camp that it just isn't the original series, and so
No.
it doesn't matter what it is because it's not the original.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the original, and I haven't watched all of Teen Titans Go either, but it's just kind of goofy and ridiculous, so I didn't hate
Yeah.
it.
It's one of those things that just they went from like a pretty serious and very well beloved series, and then they did this American animation transformation into bad jokes, and yeah, and I just it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah, different target audiences.
True.
Chris,
Guess the original is just too highbrow.
too highbrow. Chris, what is your number 2?
My number 2 is This Is the Day, or Age of Aquarius from 40-Year-Old Virgin. I don't know. It's such a good karaoke song, and that scene is just it's so oddly placed. Then again, everything in that movie is oddly placed, and
That's what she said?
yep, exactly. And yeah, so that, and it's a true musical number. So I picked that one because it's more of a traditional musical number, like in the styling of what would be in a musical, but the movie itself is obviously not, and it's based on such a weird part of the movie. Also not appropriate for all audiences, so.
My next one, I think, is appropriate for all audiences, and that's The Office Season 7, Episode 1, Cold Open, where they lip sync to Nobody But Me by the Human Beings. Great, like, single shot cold open. And just like the shenanigans that occur in that scene are like so good. I'm really looking forward to when the Office ladies get to this cold open on their podcast, just to hear them chat about it, because I'm like, it's so well done. I'm sure it took them takes upon takes upon takes to get down, and so I'm just so excited because that cold open is so good, especially as like the Office is getting into the later seasons. But like that's like such a great, like, I forgot that there was a episode 1 kickoff, and it's so good.
Yes, that also made it into my top 7. You'll notice I'm specifically not choosing things from The Office this time because of last time I was on.
Good.
But
Shanine's
also,
just our
multiple
Office
Office
guru.
ones.
She's just,
Yes.
it's like, how can Shanine twist this top 3 to bring up The Office?
easily.
Then again, she writes the top 3, so it's easy.
Honorable mention to Closing Time as well.
Yeah. There were like, okay, so to distract us to The Office, there were a lot more like scenes from The Office that were musicals than I remembered there being. Like as I was looking stuff up, like
I forgot Scranton, the Electric City.
that was originally going to be my like top pick.
It's so good.
But there's so many. Because there's also on my short list, there's the Dunder Mifflin commercial that Daryl sings.
Yes.
And then there is the when it's Daryl's last day and he dances out with everybody. There's also that. I mean, there's just way more than I remember, because I instantly went to the How I Met Your Mother stuff, and I was like, man, The Office, so good.
Yep. Okay, but the official number 3 in my list is the Steward of Gondor from The Return of the King.
Touche.
I love Billy Boyd. I love Pippin. And that scene makes me cry every time.
The single he recorded for The Hobbit, The Last Goodbye, makes me cry. He also has a really good voice.
I did not
Really
know he did that.
surprising.
Yes.
Than any of the like Lord of the Rings soundtracks music in general, especially when they have the vocalists. Like, whoa. Whoa.
Yep.
Man, sorry, Umbrella Academy. I'm rewatching Lord of the Rings this week. You can thank Shanine for that.
Extended editions.
That are yeah,
See
yes.
ya
Well,
in
it has
15
to be
hours.
the
Oh, that's
extended
something we forgot to
editions.
notice. The extended edition, Lord of the Rings, is looking at releasing a 4K version of their movies. There you go.
Really?
Yeah, I already own the extended editions on Blu-ray, but
Now 4K.
now I need 4K. I just upgraded my TV. I have a 4K TV. I gotta watch Lord of the Rings 4K. And I've done it. I've done Lord of the Rings in a single sitting. All three extended editions. It's not hard.
You just got to do it.
I do it like once a year. I guess so. My last one will be. I couldn't like I was thinking of some and then I was like I don't know. But I strictly remember the musical episode for The Flash. It was like one of his second encounters with Supergirl, and they do a song like called Super Friends.
I need to go watch this. I was not aware of that.
And it's more so like I really like the scene just because of like they like when they pause the music and they interject these random pieces of conversation. I just find really humorous. But yeah, Barry tap dances. It's great. So that's one that just sticks out to me. Also, Flash isn't bad. It's progressively getting worse because how often are you going to reset the universe? But
As many times as it takes.
seriously.
Looking at you, DCEU.
And then they don't. Then they do the announcement where they're not going to do Flashpoint for one of their.
Or they're leaving out like a major part of Flashpoint for the Flashpoint movie.
Yep. It's like. Okay, but that's it. Yep.
Okay, for my number 3, it's 2 scenes, and it is the dance scenes from the Umbrella Academy. The first one in season 1 in the house where Luther plays the song on the record player, and then in season 2 where they're dancing inside of the barbershop or hair salon, I guess technically. And both of those scenes are so good. I like that they're so random, like in terms of like, I guess like in terms of tone, like it's just suddenly dance scene. But I love how they kind of just like let the characters be silly, and I like getting to watch like the characters be themselves, and so shout out to that. And then honorable mention to the scene where Five fights the people from the commission in the diner, because that's very well done choreography. Not quite musical, but you know,
Close.
but close. So that wraps up this top 3. Next episode, we'll be discussing our top 3 constellations and the myths around them.
Well, some of us will be.
Some of us will be. I will not be here. Hopefully I'll be in chat, but I might not have stable internet, so I will not be here. And if you would like to let us know, of course, you can comment on the posts, hang out with us in Discord, and be there to chat about all these kinds of stuff. And you can reach out to us on our social media, which is OneGeek411 on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and our PlayStation community. You can join our Discord server. That was hard to say for some reason. You can send us an email at 1stgeek411@gmail.com. You can watch live on Twitch, and then find the videos later on YouTube and podcast services around the world. And then you can check out our show notes over on our website, 1geek411.com. And while you're there, you can find our sister podcast, Faith, Trust, and Pixie Dust. And then, of course, you can find us on our personal social medias. Mine is Humar Whittle.
I'm not so foreign.
The Hoot and Howl on Twitter and Hoot and Howl Tales, TALES, on Instagram.
And this is your weekly reminder that the police officers that murdered Breonna Taylor still have yet to be arrested.